Hi, and welcome to this vocabulary lesson because we are going to look at synonyms, collocations in context, and words that belong in the word family. I hope you'll stick around with me every single day, learn these 3,000 words with me. Nevertheless, nevertheless. This is a really interesting word. We have a class of adverbs. We like to say they're adverbs, but they don't act the same as our normal adverbs. I would say that trying to make them an adverb is something that we do because we're still rooted in Latin grammar. Nevertheless doesn't quite fit in the adverb mindset for me. I'd call it a conjunction. Nevertheless is a way to signal another situation. So this is our situation, and even though this is happening, this is what we're choosing. We use the word nevertheless to pivot from this thing to this other thing. So this is a very common phrase. Nevertheless, she persisted. Let's talk about women for a minute. She. In English, our pronouns are very specific. We do not put a he or she on an inanimate object. For example, I'm sitting here at a table. In some languages, table is seen as a feminine noun. But in English, if something is inanimate, it cannot be feminine or masculine. So it's always an it. If I have the word she, I mean a female human. And life for female humans or women has traditionally been very difficult. There's a lot going against women. So with everything that's hard, nevertheless, she persisted. That's saying that even though all of this stuff is really hard for a woman, she kept working at it. She stayed strong. She persisted. Nevertheless. In that sense, nevertheless is a very strong word because it's connected with this. But the idea of nevertheless is just a pivot from one thing and usually to the opposite or a contrasting. Some synonyms for nevertheless are however, still, nonetheless, and nonetheless is the same, really. It means exactly the same as nevertheless. You would use it exactly the same, but nevertheless is more common than nonetheless. Though, although, even though, all the same, and yet. These are all synonyms for nevertheless. Life was hard, yet she persisted. Persistence despite difficulty. The project faced several delays. Nevertheless, the team completed it on time. So we're using nevertheless to say this bad thing was going on, but is another, and this is why I don't think nevertheless is necessarily an adverb, but the team completed it on time. Yay, team! It showed determination and perseverance. Unexpected positive outcome. The restaurant received mixed reviews. Nevertheless, it was fully booked every weekend. It's surprise or contradiction between expectation and reality. Nevertheless, cues us that there's going to be some contrast or contradiction. I understand your concerns. Nevertheless, I believe this is the best solution. So I'm going to disagree with you, but I am acknowledging that what you say is right. I understand your concerns. Nevertheless, so even though, or I hear you, but I believe this is the best solution. Nevertheless is a substitute for but, and it's a little more elevated than but. I could use the word still. I understand your concerns. Still, I believe this is the best solution. It's respectful disagreement. It's often used in professional and academic settings. We can use nevertheless to show an acceptance of risk. The weather forecast predicted heavy rain. Nevertheless, the hikers decided to continue their journey. So again, we're showing a contrast here. Yeah, there's going to be heavy rain, but the hikers are still going to do what they want to do. Emphasizing an important fact. The evidence is limited. Nevertheless, the findings provide valuable insights for future research. So if I use nevertheless, people are going to think that I'm being balanced. I see this and I see this other thing. They might contradict each other, but I can accept some contradiction. I'm acknowledging a weakness while highlighting a significance. So nevertheless is a formal word. The task was difficult, nevertheless, she succeeded. Nonetheless is exactly the same. The task was difficult, nonetheless, she succeeded. It's exactly the same in register, formal, as well as in usage. Still is neutral. It might be even less, and it's less formal than nevertheless or nonetheless. The task was difficult. Still, she succeeded. And even so or but is informal. The task was difficult. Even so, she succeeded. Or the task was difficult, but she succeeded. That's an informal usage. Some other examples are, he had very little experience. Nevertheless, he impressed the interview panel. The product is expensive, but nevertheless, many customers consider it worth the price. Here in this sentence, we have but and nevertheless. You're going to hear people use them together. You don't need to have them together. So in your writing, I would say choose one. But nevertheless, you're going to hear it that way because nevertheless raises your formality. And if someone wants to raise their formality, they would maybe make a mistake and use them together. It's not a big mistake. Everyone will understand you. You've still raised your formality. She was exhausted after work. Nevertheless, she went to her English class. The results were disappointing. Nevertheless, the team learned several valuable lessons. So in this one, I'm highlighting a benefit even though I was disappointed. There is no guarantee of success. Nevertheless, it's worth trying. Because this is a conjunction, there really isn't an opposite. There's not a noun, there's not a verb, there's not an adjective. You would classify this, or a lot of dictionaries will classify this as an adverb, but as I said in the beginning, nevertheless really falls in a conjunction category. When we say it's an adverb, it's because we are trying to superimpose Latin grammar on English usage. It doesn't always work. Nevertheless, we do it. I really hope that you enjoyed this word. Research shows that if you know 3,000 words, then you can pretty much say anything you need to say. I hope I'll see you tomorrow, and please like and subscribe.